silken morn. They have patterned the silent and sunlit sky. Under Cancer and under Capricorn, they have flown where no birds fly.
Too late, as usual. Let's get cracking.
I'll carry on with the briefing. My name's Peter Hollier. I'm from Air Traffic Control Civil Aviation Division, and my job is to give you a verbal briefing on the air traffic control rules and procedures and airspace requirements relevant to the flight. And a lot of
the sport has got different values, but to me it's the competitive nature, I suppose. It keeps driving you on. You want to beat the other fellow, and it's the enjoyment of winning and even getting beaten. It's still the sport. It's the first thermal flight, you think this is the most fantastic thing we've ever done. You really want to stay up there forever. But after a few hours, a few hours, say 50 or 60 hours of this, you realise that it's got very little to offer. It's no great skill staying up anymore. So the real challenge becomes cross-country flying from A to B and back again. And of course, I suppose the most exciting part of any flight is the satisfaction of knowing in the last climb you're going to get back to your airfield. And this never easily is this challenge because every day is different.
2,500 feet, and you must get authority from Hamilton Tower on 122.9. And again, before you enter, make sure you pass them your position, your altitude, and your route.
Tail wheel dolly? No. The Roland's going to lift it, he tells me. Come off it!
Don't bust yourself. It's too heavy.
Hey, what are you trying to prove?
You'll bust a valve on that lot. It weighs about like 900 pounds, this beast. 222 kilometres from Ardmore Airfield to Tikawiti and to Matamata. The turning point at Tikawiti will be the clubhouse on the old racecourse, or the Tikawiti Aerodrome.
Kilo Oscar Graham.
Go ahead, Kilo Oscar.
What is your present position?
I'm on the other side of the Bombay Hills.
Roger, Kilo Oscar Graham. I'm getting down towards Oklahoma. Conditions ahead look pretty good, so I would suggest that you take Highway 27 direct to Matamata. Over.
Oh, Roger, Kilo Oscar. You'll probably be there before me.
Undoubtedly.
Charlie Base, Hotel Charlie, do you read?
Charlie Base.
Jill, I'm getting established over the farm just south of Waipukurau. I think you could leave half and get on your way towards Matamata.
Roger, Charlie Base. How far would you like us to go?
I think it might be a good idea if you hold at Ohinawai, because from there it's easy to either go straight to Matamata or to continue towards Canberra towards Ikuiti in case I would land there.
Roger, we're on our way now then.
Roger.
Kilo Lima ground, Kilo Lima ground.
Kilo Lima.
We'll be proceeding out on track route. Looks as though it's pretty good down the line, and I think there's only to follow me too closely, but yes, you move us slowly towards Matamata on Highway 27. I'll call back later on the flight.
Roger.
Kilo Lima ground, do you read?
Go ahead.
Actually, it's about at the turn point, just short of the turn point, and I think it's going to be a fairly easy run. Whereabouts are you now?
I'm just coming down off the Bombay Hill. Haven't been going very long.
Well, obviously, I'm going to be at Matamata long before you get there, so just drive straight to Matamata. Yeah.
Roger.
Delta, 8 miles. Kilo Delta, this is Matamata. There is no known traffic. The wind is light and variable. Use runway 11, please. All winching wires have been removed. Call 1 mile out, over.
Roger, Kilo Delta.
Thanks, Frank.
There's water coming out. No, that'll be Frank. Kelly down here.
Gliding is really sport flying. It really is probably the last frontier of aviation which has a true sporting value. And no flying, no motor, of course, means the effort of, the challenge and the effort of staying aloft is entirely in your own hands.
Hold up, Frank.
We got the wrong ship, Frank.
Yeah, what are you calling for, John?
Come on,
All right, well then we go back here to Tikawiti, which is 10/8 80. 80. Tikawiti to, how about Tikawiti to Taupo? Too far south over that scruff country?
No, it's right through there.
Which is 64. To Broadlands. To Broadlands is 48. And to Taupo is another 32.
Juliet Hotel, over.
Juliet Hotel, roger.
Juliet Hotel, overhead, going to make a 90-degree turn right and cross. I'm almost overhead, over.
Taupo, base India Yankee on final, marking the straight and approach. Do you have your visual?
India Yankee, Taupo base, roger. Have your visual. Wind from the west, very light, so I don't think you'll have any trouble. India Yankee, good finish.
Prices, if you're flying in club machines and club equipment, using club equipment, of course, it's relatively cheap. It's certainly a lot cheaper than power flying, and if you own your own sailplane, you don't obviously start with a high-priced one. You build up from a small one and work on up, and the price is relatively unimportant aspect of it, but certainly it's not a sport that you consider a cheap sport anyway. But it certainly is well within the means of the average man who's dedicated to it.
Right, good morning, everybody. Congratulations on everybody who made it yesterday. You know, all but two was an excellent effort, despite the fact that the times were slightly slower than the previous day. Noisy things, aren't they? The forecaster in Auckland tells me this morning that the cold front is moving onto the lower half of the North Island and should reach Wellington about 3 p.m. this afternoon.
It's surprising the number of days you can fly. You know, we tend to think of the ideal day as being the only day. In reality, there are many days when we can actually fly quite substantial flights on what would appear to be doubtful weather, but we do in fact have to wait for the weather, and it's very obviously a summer sport.
The task for today will be the Taupo Centennial Aerodrome where we are at the moment to the Rangataiki Hotel. Now the Rangataiki Hotel, that's the new tavern, not the old one, to Waipukurau Airfield. It's a distance of 158 kilometres.
Taupo, Juliet Hotel, 1 mile.
Juliet Hotel, crossing now.
Juliet Hotel, good start at 5-1. Juliet Hotel, thank you, Taupo.
Charlie Base, Hotel Charlie.
Charlie Base.
Conditions don't look too good just at the moment, Joe. I'm down to about 1,500 feet, and cloud base is only a couple hundred feet above the mountain top. There will be a bit of a struggle getting to the mountain. At the moment, I'm right over the Rangataiki Hotel and slowly climbing.
Where would you like us to go?
I would say if you come to the Rangataiki Hotel and go past it towards Napier.
Roger, Hotel Charlie.
Kilo Oscar ground, Kilo Oscar ground.
Go ahead, Kilo Oscar.
I'm approaching the main ranges southeast of Lochinvar Station. Conditions have improved quite a bit. Conditions in Hawke's Bay look quite good, so there doesn't seem to be look as though we'll have much problem in getting through today. Over.
Roger, Kilo Oscar. Shall I get on the road?
Roger, Kilo Oscar ground. I suggest that you go through to Waipukurau Airfield.
Lima ground, Kilo Lima ground, do you read? Go ahead.
Right, well look, it looks as though I'm over the worst of the hill on the high peak and I'm heading towards Napier down the main road. It looks as though I'll get through alright, and I think you better move on towards Napier at all speed.
It's a very different approach from the ordinary flying. It's almost a ruthless approach to the use and academic sifting of the thermals. You have to press on and only accept the best lift that's available on the day, and having to assess which is going to be the best thermals, because speed flying relates to the ability to climb quickly and fly fast. And competition flying is exactly that. It's assessing the tactics of your rivals, making the best use of the available conditions, and pressing on to a point which means that if you make a mistake, you're going to have to face an immediate landing.
Well, after starting, I had a very good start. The thermals were good. Then there was fairly high cloud cover, which cut off the thermals, and I was committed to the only strip in the middle of the forest.
So you decided to play it safe and get down?
That was the only thing to do. I had no option.
The cloud base was fairly low, and it was scratchy this far to Rangataiki. A lot of them landed out between there and here, as you know, and then going to the point of no return, as we say over there, those hills there, they're 4,000 feet high. We'd only got 500 feet to clear them, and the cloud base was coming up and down. I got as far as there and came back to get more height, but the cloud base didn't lift any higher. Some of them have slunk through. They've had it fairly tough over there, which made me take a second go at it. I came back here and got into another cloud street, went through, got to the top there, still the same, but I slipped over and I had the dickens of a job to get back. There's quite an element of luck, because I'm going to say I've had bad luck all this week. No, there is, from your launch time, there is an element of luck as to the cycle of the clouds which are created by convection. And if you're fortunate enough to hit the right cycle, you're through. I'm not saying at the same time that there's not an awful lot of skill and there's not an awful lot of aggressiveness.
Okay, fellas, now this front's sort of bogged down at Kaikoura and it's not going to move. The weather at Paraparau's not the very best, and I'm very hesitant now to alter the task to make it mast. What do you think about the Wellington weather, Doug?
Well, at the present moment, the forecast isn't good, but if the front is stationary there's no reason why we shouldn't expect a clearance in the Paraparaumu area. This is indicative of normal weather procedures there. Down the coast, we could hope for some light westerlies where we could perhaps work the ridges going down to get us through the bad areas.
Well, as I see it, we've got three possibilities. Waipukurau to mast it into Paraparaumu, Waipukurau to Ekirahuna, Shannon, Paraparaumu, or straight through.
You know, it's a go for broke today, and we will be asking the Paraparaumu Club to ensure that the social activity for tonight is on. So this will be the last flying day, and we should make Paraparaumu the scene, and hopefully everybody will get there.
Oh, yeah. Not an old one either.
It's a bit like the sea. Every day the sea always has its different faces, and every day is a little different. And this gliding, of course, is exactly the same. You're looking at the sky and its various moods, and then having to interpret what the weather's doing so specifically for you, and how you can make the best use of the available updrafts.
Roger, India Yankee. I have your visual, actually, from the tower. India Yankee, Roger.
Ian Finlayson of Hamilton, who won 3 out of the 4 days, becomes the first winner of the Air New Zealand Derby. Ian, my congratulations. I'd like you to accept this trophy from Helen and Dick Georgeson, who are well known to us all, and probably the greatest fan for gliding in New Zealand. And I'm going to ask Des Renner, the president of the Wellington Club, where we have terminated the Derby, to present it to you. Des.
Well, congratulations, Ian. I couldn't even beat you on the ground, let alone in the air. I tried hard every day.
Thank you, Des. Well, it's certainly been a great honour to win the first Air New Zealand derby. As John says, it's been a tremendous amount of fun.
You become man and machine, you become one, and it's the feeling of the seagull and probably soaring away. It's got a thing of beauty which you can really nothing else can recapture that. And it's a sport that you can have the most fantastic flight on a Sunday afternoon and land back at the field, and you land and you say, this is the most fantastic flight I've ever had. But to tell anybody else about it after, it's darn difficult to put it into simple language, just to express the joy and the satisfaction. I never tire of it.